All right, this is the left's economic policy in 2 sentences. Number 1, Americans should spend a lot less. Number 2, the government should spend a lot more. You got it? And Democrats, by the way, are about to pop open the champagne on Capitol Hill. Why? Because they're closer to spending trillions of dollars we don't have on stuff we don't need. Now, as predicted, Joe Manchin seems poised to betray the people of West Virginia and agree to this massive bill. And Biden wants these gargantuan spending packages. Why? Because he wants them for his big trip to Glasgow for climate change. Also, he can say, see, guys, we're behaving over there in the United States. We're serious about changing our ways. Look, we're creating a new expanded welfare state and more giveaways to cronies who offer green solutions. It's so pathetic and so predictable. Meanwhile, as we unilaterally disarm on oil and gas, Germany is building coal plants. Of course they are. And of course, China never stopped. Belt and Road, baby, all the way. It's all that matters to China. Global domination of every industry. And the EU and China love seeing America prostrate herself on the world stage because with Biden in charge, they'll almost always get their way. And somehow, back at home, Biden's team thinks that they're going to get their way with the voters by stoking inflation with all this spending. They think Biden's record low approval numbers will be revived when people's paychecks are ravaged by inflation. It seems the only argument for the left is, for Democrats at this point, is that the same one that Jimmy Carter tried to resounding defeat. People, you consume too much.
Many of us now tend to worship self-indulgence and consumption, but we've discovered that owning things and consuming things does not satisfy our longing for meaning. Piling up material goods cannot fill the emptiness of lives which have no confidence or purpose.
How depressing. Now, the press knows that as long as the Democrats stay in power, Americans are going to see their standard of living decline. So all they can do now is try to persuade us to accept that decline. And to that end, a lefty writer over at Slate named Kevin Mattson actually pines for the days of Jimmy Carter. And he wishes that Biden could give a speech urging Americans to do with less. Something like, we're used to pushing a button and getting a product delivered. That might have been a necessity at the height of the pandemic, but now it's indefensible. That is, if we care about carbon footprints, climate change. Please, I'm begging him, Biden should give his own malaise speech just like that. Please do it. Now, all the usual suspects are picking up on this theme of lowering expectations. Over at NBC, they want Americans to stop using automobiles. Check out this title. Americans are in total collective denial about how lethal our car dependency is. We have to stop normalizing the suffering caused by cars. Is it just me, or is this all starting to sound like the Babylon Bee? Now, the point is, it's really hard to convince Americans to shrink their ambitions. Pursuing and achieving, and yes, purchasing according to our own free will, it's ingrained into Americans' DNA. That's why Biden, though, is using a rhetorical sleight of hand with his lame Build Back Better to sell all this nonsense. Well, let me tell you, there's just nothing better about it. And there's nothing original about it either. Joe's speechwriters stole the theme from the One World crowd.
We owe it to future generations to build back better, including a fairer, greener, and more resilient global economy.
Build back much better, more resilient economies and societies.
Looking ahead, we need to build back better.
I don't know why I find this hilarious. Biden's always plagiarizing. Of course, when China hears this claptrap, they see a chance to degrade the power of the U.S. and the power of the nation-state standing up to totalitarianism. So China then gets to write the rules of the road while using all the sappy Greeniac lingo.
The Earth is our one and only home. To scale up efforts to address climate change and promote sustainable development bears on the future of humanity. No global problem can be solved by any one country alone. There must be global action, global response, and global cooperation.
I mean, this is just all music to the ears of the World Economic Forum, which has always seen the U.S. as an impediment to globalism. Remember back in the 2016 timeframe during the campaign, the WEF painted the picture of their utopia in the not-so-distant future. Welcome to the year 2030. Welcome to my city, or should I say our city. I don't own anything. I don't own a car. I don't own a house. I don't own any appliances or any clothes. It might seem odd to you, but it makes perfect sense for us in this city. And what were they saying about rent at the World Economic Forum? Nah, they envisioned it's all free because it's communal. In our city, we don't pay any rent because someone else is using our free space whenever we do not need it. My living room is used for business meetings when I'm not there. Oh, that sounds fun. And by the way, the global elite don't want you worrying about that whole privacy thing anymore either. Once in a while, I get annoyed about the fact that I have no real privacy. Nowhere can I go and not be registered. I know that somewhere, everything I do, think, and dream of is recorded. I just hope that nobody will use it against me. All in all, it's a good life. That's not made up, that's real. Doesn't it sound like a young CCP kind of pamphlet? And 4 years later, the word collective gets used more. National sovereignty is a quaint, outdated idea for the global billionaires.
2021 will be the critical year to re-establish trust in our ability to shape our common future in collective and constructive ways.
The recovery cannot be a mere restart. The reconstruction must be a transformation.
Every country, city, financial institution, and company needs to adopt credible plans for transition to net zero emissions by 2050.
You can be sure that Klaus Schwab will not suffer under this new regime. If anything, he and the rest of the global billionaires will only get richer. But working-class Americans will feel the pain, and they're forced to sacrifice, and they'll be forced to tailor their dreams to this new global normal. By the way, it's a new normal where America is just another country in a global league of nations, no better and no worse. Now, I remember Reagan's answer to this type of defeatist approach that was sold by Jimmy Carter when Reagan spoke at the 1980 GOP convention.
They tell us they've done the most that could humanly be done. They say that the United States has had its day in the sun, that our nation has passed its zenith. They expect you to tell your children that the American people no longer have the will to cope with their problems, that the future will be one of sacrifice and few opportunities. My fellow citizens, I utterly reject that view. The American people, the most generous on earth, who created the highest standard of living, are not going to accept the notion that we can only make a better world for others by moving backward ourselves.
The people we ran into in Mississippi seem to carry that same optimistic spirit forward. You know, Mississippi, it's a state that, of course, has its problems, but right now its economy is booming, and its unemployment rate is nearly half that of New York City. So the people of Mississippi we ran into are not interested in settling for less.
Democrats and some in the media are saying it's time for you as an American to scale back your expectations. Make do with less. Is that acceptable to you?
No. You should not change your lifestyle. Absolutely not. You should do what you want, how you want.
We're the country that leads the free world. And to have Jennifer Psaki out there saying stuff like, oh, we're having a crisis about treadmill is ridiculous and it's insulting.
I've been working since I'm 16 years old. And I'm going to continue to work and provide for my family and do what we want to do.
More Americans are seeing it. Biden and the Democrats offer an ideology of despair and decline. Meanwhile, our populist movement teaches that through hard work and innovation, and by staying true to our traditions, Americans of all races can build a better life for themselves and their families. That's the American dream, which Biden and his global fraud friends must never be allowed to steal from us. And that's The Angle.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.